Welcome to a specially scheduled meeting of the Jenks City Council. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd of 2026. The time is 6:04 p.m. My name is Corey Box. I will be your chair for tonight's proceedings. We do have a majority of our members here tonight, so we will be conducting business on behalf of the city of Jenks. For those of you trying to tune in, apparently you will hear us, but you will not see us. Is that still the case?
Yes.
Okay, we have video problems, but the audio should be good. All right, so first thing to do, call to order. Mr. Macy.
Brown.
Here.
Short.
Here.
Emmons. OJ. Abel.
Here.
Murray.
Here.
Mayor Box.
Here. Thank you very much. For tonight's invocation, we welcome, I think for the first time, Pastor Kyle Cast. You from Battle Creek, is that right, Pastor? Since it's your first time, hate to say it, we're all believers, but we have a little bit of a hazing process. No, I'm just kidding. Tell us about your church, the ministry, anything that's going on, anything the community needs to know, and then you can lead us to the Lord in prayer. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right.
My name is Kyle Cast. I'm one of the pastors there at Battle Creek Jenks. Pastor Josh Moscheller is the lead pastor there, and it's been a pleasure to serve there for about 3 years, and it's been amazing. My story was a story of brokenness that God redeemed, and I'm thankful to serve the church and the community, and Josh has really led this charge forward into the community. I'm very thankful for him. So if you don't have a church home, we'd love to invite you. Come check us out.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, would you bow your heads? Father, first of all, we love you so much and so thankful for you, Jesus, thankful for who you are. God, today, as we go forward to move decisions, conduct business, God, I pray over each government member, God, that your spirit of wisdom would guide them, God, that as you move in this place today and we meet, God, that you would, your hand would be honest, God, that you would steward our words to be your words, God. I pray over each government official for their protection, God, movement forward and progress to glorify your name, God. I pray everyone and the concerns they bring, God, that you would be honored in that, and overall the entire city, God, that I pray your hand of protection over there, your hand of progress over that, God, and that we would exist here in Jenks to glorify you, God. We love you. Surrender this time to you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Remain standing for a moment.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Pastor. We have an animal welfare spotlight tonight. Looks like we have one. Looks familiar. Is this a repeat?
He told me he didn't bring her, so
What's her name?
This is Twix.
Oh, no, we haven't. I would have remembered that name.
We've
All
had
right.
her for about 6 months now, and her favorite thing to do is play with the puppies we have. We have 3 little tiny puppies, and she has a blast with all of them. And she, as well as all of our other adoptable pets, are completely vaccinated, and upon adoption, spayed or neutered and microchipped.
All right. Well, do we know anything about Twigs other than what kind of dog is she? Or?
I think she's a blue heeler pit mix of sorts. She's probably got a bunch of other stuff. Hey, come here. What are you doing?
Political
I
affiliation?
just know she's a licker.
Church?
So,
Okay.
come here. Yeah, I'm not sure quite what she is, but she's definitely got some healer in her.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's got a lot of energy.
6 months, huh? Seems a
Yeah,
little
we've had her
bit.
6 months.
That's
She's
a-
probably about 1.5 years now.
Really? That long?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Unfortunately.
Pastor, put that dog on your prayer list. 6 months is too long. Okay. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity if you're here and you would like to speak to the council in general on any topic that's on your mind, as long as it's not on our agenda. You may do that. If it is on the agenda, that is a matter of public record. That will be our business this evening. So if you want to talk about contrails or data centers or anything else that's bothering you, you have 3 minutes to do that, and the floor is yours. No, that's on the agenda. We can do that later. Good evening, sir. We have your name and address, please.
Matt Bowler, 312 East 124th Street.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councilors. I'm speaking tonight, hopefully under what am I trying to say? A technicality that we're not talking, the agenda does not cover 111th to 121st Street on Elm. It only covers extension of the contract to 121st to 131st Street. So I would be remiss if I did not speak on behalf of both the chamber, as the chair of the chamber board for our businesses in that area, as well as a 20-year resident of the Wakefield Ponds neighborhood. I have seen Elm expanded. When I moved into Wakefield Ponds, Elm Street was 2 lanes from the Creek Turnpike all the way out. So I've lived through 4 or 5 expansions of that street over those 20 years. And none of them have come anywhere close to being the disaster that this expansion has been for both the residents and the businesses. I'm not sure what the answer is, other than we need to do a better job of overseeing and writing our contracts to maintain 2 lanes of traffic, to have extended work hours, to put incentives in our contracts that hurry up the process and incentivize minimizing the disturbances to our residents and our business owners. So I would just ask that if you have not driven that during the day, to try to do that, and to try to figure out why they didn't pave the west side lanes before they started shutting it down to 1 lane to do the storm sewer crossovers. Go take a look at it, sit and watch it. I would love to talk to the project manager. I'm not in road construction, but it doesn't seem to make any sense. So I would love to meet with any of you individually and sit out there and watch at any point in time and have further discussions over this. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just for the record, we're going to, for those of you that are interested in the update on the South Elm widening, we're going to go ahead and move that out of other business, and we'll take care of it as item number 3 tonight. So if you're only here for that, you can hear, and then you can decide whether you want to leave afterwards. Thank you appreciate the comments. All right, anyone else? Citizens' comments, floor is yours. All right, seeing none, we will close the floor. We'll open up tonight's general business. Item number 1 is our consent agenda. Anyone on council want to talk about A through F? If not, we can entertain a motion, A through G, and if not, we can entertain a motion on item 1.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Thank you, gentlemen. Proper motion and second. Item 1, roll call, please.
Brown,
Yes?
Short,
Yes.
Abel,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Box.
Yes. No need for item 2. All right, at this point, we'll go ahead and, before we move on to the original item 3, we'll jump right into our
City manager report.
city manager's report, which includes an update on Peoria Elm. Mr. Shrout
Robert, do you have?
or Mr. Carr. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Is this
Council.
public information, or is this,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
All right. We can
make it available.
Counselor Abel, if you could, with your magic reports, if you could make this, maybe summarize it a bit and make sure it gets posted. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Wilkins. How are you, sir?
I am well. I know that we are having a problem that was just discussed about the Elm Street project and the ongoing issues with how we are trying to resolve this and get this taken off of High Center. I think we have a perfect storm. And in the issues that we have listed in the documents that you have before you, is we have shown the schedule, we can talk about all of that, but the main issues that were just brought up was talking about procedural, how we can move forward, what we learn, and then what we can do now. Personally, I live here in Jenks, and I deal with that, and I drive it every day. And my wife also lets me know about it every day. So it is a major issue. It's a painful moment, but I think it's something we've learned. We're coming down an old corridor, taking care of a widening of a street, and we've picked up a few things along the way here. So I don't know where you would like for us to start on this one, or Chris?
Could you just go through the document? I mean, even just reading the document you produced?
Okay, on this project scope, we could talk about the engineering starting and what's going on. We had a start date on the actual right-of-way and acquisition here back in September 2020. And we completed the acquisition in 2024 of May. And then the utility relocation started in 2020 also. But it's somewhere along the way, we kind of had some utilities that were not identified. So the phase one construction started, bid was October 2024, award of contract November 2024. Construction started on January of 2025. And the projected construction completion date was April of 2026. And we've adjusted the completion date, which has been a request from the contractor due to the unforeseen utilities items that we've engaged during this contract, and pushed the completion date to February of 2027. So that added 303 calendar days to this project. Do we want to talk about phase one? Any more lessons learned, where we're going with that one?
Yes.
Okay, the factors that we really have engaged doing this project has been that we've found so many unknown, conflicting underground utilities. Our main utility problem was the AT&T conflict. AT&T has fiber optic, copper lines, and quite a few that were not identified. And we had to slow the project down. And the contractor has a sequence of work that they do. And in doing so, they have teams out there that have specific activities that they can do. And the work that we needed to do first, which is bring in our utilities, our underground utilities, could not be performed, just to make it simple, until the utilities from AT&T, PSO, or anybody else out in the area, ONG, had to relocate. You know, what happened, why they didn't take care of all of these issues, I really can't track back into them to get the real answer. They just say, I'm sorry and I apologize. But they did not follow up on a lot of the utilities that they have there that are active and important, which is difficult for me to even understand that this occurred. But we have had to delay the project multiple times, push back, and we couldn't do anything with the roadway project until we can get that subsurface project taken care of. And like I say, I can go through the litany of days, things that are going on, what happened. Approximately, it's a little boring. It's a fact, we lived through it and living through it at the present time.
I think, Anthony, just on the first page, after the phase two construction, and this is to Dr. Bowler's point about what I think he's referencing on the JPWA agenda about contract management, construction management on the southern phase, but you have an explanation of what we've hired a firm to do to manage this project.
Correct.
Could you go through that for the?
Well, we have a roadway construction management team there. It's standard engineering and testing.
How long have we had them?
We hired them at the beginning of this project. So they came in with the contractor.
And who are they called?
They're standard engineering
okay.
and testing.
I'm sorry, yeah.
And it's a full-time, we have a we have a project manager on the job at all times. And they provide inspection personnel. They process the payments. They make sure that everything is, they edit the payments, so audit the payments before we get them. So we know that what we're purchasing is what we actually got. They review the progress schedule. Well, one thing that's important, they cannot tell the contractor what to do, means and methods, how to build, methods to use to build. And so that's sometimes where we get sideways on some of the contracts. They attend the construction progress meetings. They serve as our liaisons. They receive and our shop drawings, review them, and then we will approve them if we agree with them or not. So they evaluate, coordinate contract requests for modifications. We've had a few change orders due to subgrade issues, having to relocate components. And they perform our materials testing for the concrete as well as the soils, so the bearing capacities, can the roadway, the subgrade withstand the loading that we're about to place on it. So they'll do that and talk about compaction, the materials type we're using in those areas, gravel, concrete, whatever, filter fabrics. And they maintain the documents, and they do the final markups of the as-builts. Chris, is that it, on what you would like to hear?
Probably on that page.
Okay. So you really want to walk through every page?
Yeah.
Okay. So the overall project cost. Sir?
It won't take as much time to go through this as it will to get to 131st Street, so let's just go ahead and do it.
Okay, got it. The overall project cost that we had on this for the original phase was $9,117,017.68. We had a net change order in this one of $47,941.76. And for the contract sum to date is $9,164,959.44. So the paid to date is $4,389,210.29. The percent of the project costs paid is 48%. That's the percent of the contract cost paid. Percent of the total time is 64%. I'm rounding up. So, in the phase one construction inspectors that we have on the project at the moment, that is standard engineering and testing. Their contract cost to perform this service was $566,826. So now we have a phase two coming up if you want to talk about that.
Actually, before we do that, so we don't get buried in the details, let's pause. Any questions for Mr. Wilkins while we have him here? And I know you guys get a fair amount of inquiries about this. Do we want to talk about it?
Right.
I'm not terribly concerned about the project cost. Any questions you want to help answer to the public before we move on? We can take this bite-sized pieces.
I think the right-of-way, if I'm not mistaken, in September 2020, when we started the right-of-way, we also had a situation where an individual landowner passed away, and that's part of the reason for your delay. But is that correct? Am I remembering that correct? We had to go through
That was, I think,
Is that phase two? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, where we are so far? Mr. Murray?
Mine goes back to page one for phase two, construction start. We approved it in April. It says yet to be determined, anticipation of July of '26. And I know I questioned that night when we passed it, if we could get some kind of time frame. Nobody really could answer it, and I understand because we weren't, you're not the construction people.
Right.
But it's concerning that we pass it and 3 months later, there's still an anticipation of starting it. Do we know when we're going to get an actual date by any means, Chance?
Well, next week, we're meeting with all the utilities in that corridor. And what we found, the construction company, Paragon, has done an evaluation along that corridor alignment, and we've found that we have conflicts. So before we start this contract and get out there and start a phase one episode, we would like to back up and take a moment and make sure we get all these conflicts that we may be seeing at this moment cleared up. We do not want to tear up another road and stop and have to readjust. So that's the thinking. We have PSO, ONG, AT&T, and anybody else is in their corridor, oil and gas companies coming in next week. So we can all sit at the same table, talk about what we have and the designer of this project.
Can you, and make sure somebody from council gets invited to this meeting, Chris?
Absolutely.
So we're aware. We're the only ones who answer the questions, so we need to know. I got a question for you.
Yes.
So we have 10 months of delay. Originally, this was supposed to be done a month ago, in April, and now we're projecting February of 2027. So this is 10 months longer than expected. And to your point, Mr. Murray, I don't necessarily know, help me understand the logic here, maybe you agree with me. I don't think we need to rush into phase two if we're 10 months behind on phase one. We can't destroy Peoria Elm from 111th all the way to 131st. And if I'm not mistaken, when's the construction starting on that big neighborhood out there? I think they're ramping up, or is that infrastructure that's being piled up near north, south of Dollar General for the road, or does that have something to do with the subdivision?
Subdivision.
Okay, so that guy's eager to build. We're 10 months behind on the first phase. Why would we want to rush into phase two? I mean, that's just my thought process, but we don't need to discuss that tonight. But I want you guys to know when you're
Yes.
talking to them next week, we don't need to rush into phase two to be on time when we're so dramatically behind on phase one. We don't need Paragon all up and down 130 Peoria Elm for 2+ miles. That seems to me that would exacerbate the problem. If you guys disagree, talk to us before now and then, because we have to communicate that to the public. One sense doesn't make to have the whole road in bad shape. And I know you can appreciate that. There's only 2 of us that live south of 121st Street that have to drive it every day. Mr. Murray?
I guess and realize I'm just more of the fact that why did they bring it to us to approve if the idea is we need to wait on it? I know it needs to be approved so they can get their ducks in a row, but
Wow.
it just, that's frustrating from that standpoint. And I know if we wait till one project is completed to start another one, then we're going to be a continuum for years to go. Sometimes doubling up and trying to get it over with, yeah, it puts the motorists at a more unfair advantage, but we've already seen that for over a year now, and I just assume we try to get something done on this in a more timely fashion, obviously. Is there anything, Ms. Wilkes, in the contract to an incentive on ending
Can
early?
you hold that question?
Okay.
Let's stick to the challenges. We can talk about the contract in a little bit. Anyway, it's just a thought. You guys, our thought process, and we're not in agreement necessarily, but we don't need to rush into phase two if you guys think there's some common sense to, let's get phase one wrapped up pretty tidy.
Makes sense.
In my opinion, I drove the road 2 nights ago and then 3 days ago. When you get to 121st Street and you pass Casey's, there's finally some reasonable calm.
Right.
That's the road I've known for 20 years. If it starts under construction in 2 months and we still have 6 months or 8 months left, you can imagine how people feel by the time they get home to Yorktown, right?
Absolutely.
Where do you live?
I live over in 116th Street, Oakwood Estates.
Okay.
So I get a shorter traumatizing
Yeah.
moment.
Let's try to minimize the pain and suffering for everybody. Okay, so I like this flow, so we can bite this off in little pieces. Let's move on to factors affecting project progress. we can identify the conflicts.
Right. Do you want line item or it's just multiple things. Like AT&T does have to relocate they've upgraded and relocated at the same time. Now, what happened along the way, why they didn't, I really can't identify that. And they just overlooked it. They missed it. Their boards, their documents didn't show it. They have it didn't happen. And it didn't happen at the time when they thought it was taken care of. And I think also with all the ongoing projects that they're having throughout the city, they're prioritizing their work that they need to do because they're a business also. And I was trying to work with them about, where does Jenks fall in your ranking of importance? And I know there are some bigger guns in other neighborhoods. We do happen to have a fiber optic cable that is very important, that is running the length of this corridor that we must take care of, must be careful of, and it was for the entire length of 111th to 121st, right in the way. So that's why you've seen AT&T out there splicing, putting in conduit the whole time, and running back and forth. So they have steps that they can do at once. So, and they only have so many teams that they can bring out and use. So that team may be used in multiple places throughout the city, throughout the region. So we've been trying to get them to prioritize that team in Jenks. We feel we're the most important at this moment, okay? At least I have to tell them that, gosh, we need you, and we need you to get here now.
One of the reasons that the project is a little behind schedule is when the contractor first started in January of '25, he did his due diligence to see where he needed to go, what he needed to do, and what was in the way. And he found out immediately that AT&T had not relocated anything for the entire mile, which was a little disturbing to us. It took us a good 2.5 months to make contact with AT&T and get their attention. So it's stated in this report here that the contractor was delayed about 4 months before he could really start getting into doing anything because of AT&T. They were very good. The contractor was extremely good about working in areas where there was no conflict with AT&T. They tried to do the best they could to work in any area that was free of any conflicts. So I got to give them a lot of credit for that, although they couldn't go and do what they were planning on doing in the first steps. They still were doing some things. Didn't look very obvious that they were, but they were still working. But there was a 4-month delay with AT&T.
Right.
So 4 out of the 10 months are the.
Yeah, and then one of the next sections on here talks about weather impacts. And we found that doing some investigation there were rain days during that time period. I'm kind of taking Anthony's thunder here.
Oh, that's okay.
But on the third page, there was 90 documented rain days since the beginning of this project. 90 days, which made it very difficult to do any work during that time period. And in April of '25, it was the wettest April on record. I looked at it today and I found that there was 11 inches of rain in April, and our normal is a little bit less than 4 inches of rain. So it made it very difficult for them to be able to do a lot of their work. So you add 90 days onto that. And then if you look at cold temperatures, which makes it difficult to do anything with concrete or asphalt or anything else, there were approximately 75 to 80 days where it dropped below freezing during this contract. So if you add it all together, it's about 165 to 170 days of weather delays that are on top of the 4 months that they had. And if you add that all together, my calculation was that we're right about 10 months behind schedule because of weather and a conflict with AT&T. I'm not trying to give anybody any out of sequence type response. I mean, but that's the reality of what construction is all about. You got to have the right conditions in order to do the construction.
Thank you, Mr. Carney. You can proceed. We're on factors affecting project progress.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to repeat any of them.
Oh,
but-
I know, that was checking them
And
off.
I don't want you to address the council. I want you're talking to the public. That's
Yeah.
the angle we're looking for tonight, if you would.
Okay. And in addition, like you said, in the addition to dealing with the rain condition, the subsurface becomes, we cannot, even though it's not raining, we can't dig up some of the soils. We can't compact the soils. So, it's just a sequence of events that keep falling forward here that delays us and delays us. And that's where one of the bullets here on that third page where it says unanticipated subsurface conditions. That has really been one of the major issues we've run into. And again, the contractor has done everything as far as I can see at this point. They've been upfront, open about what they're finding, dealing with the difficulties. We've all worked together with everybody out there, talking about our options or how to get things done. And maybe the steps that we could use in the future, learn from what we've going through here. And one of the things I think that's really totally unexpected was the simultaneous projects going on throughout this region. And Jenks is in sort of a landlocked, it's almost like a cul-de-sac, one way in, one way out. And our major street that we thought that we can take out and do work on, we'd have other options, but ODOT has other plans. And I was reading up on the ODOT plans, and they have a 75 corridor plan that they need to take out now. And that's why we've hit every component.
And the Polecat Bridge project that ODOT is working on has become significantly more extensive than they ever thought it would be, and it's taking significantly longer than they ever thought it would. And that has an impact on options for our citizens going north-south. People are getting off of Highway 75 when they normally wouldn't.
Correct.
So.
To be clear, though, because we answer this question a lot, an Oklahoma Department of Transportation project has nothing to do with Peoria Elm. So one
Correct.
question I answer all the time is, why can't you go get those workers over there that are killing it, building a sidewalk, and have them come over here and help? You just can't.
No, that's
They're
a
not
different
ours.
team.
That's a state-funded project, and and ODOT will do what they do long after all of us are gone, and their schedule is their schedule. And he made that point just to basically clarify that the perfect storm of traffic being bad in Jenks it's a reality. Highway 75 is bad, and the 81st Street intersection is going to make it worse. The Polecat thing is terrible, and I get it. By the time you guys get down and you're turning on 121st to try to go east to get into Jenks, I don't blame you for being pissed. I really don't. I don't blame you for being angry. I don't know what it feels like to do that every day, but I can also tell you that the only thing we can do is make sure that we're not adding to that perfect storm, which is why nobody's talking about doing Elwood. Elwood needs a lot of work. Elwood will be maybe the next big construction project, road repair in the city of Jenks. But I can assure you that none of us are interested in even starting that until Peoria Elm looks like Memorial. And when it does, we can move on and do something else. We can tear up the other side of town. But it's not our intention to limit your options to get in and out of your home. It's really not. So, questions, comments from council before we move to the bottom of page 3? Anything? All right. We can pick up on the bottom of page 3 if you want, under progress may not be visible.
Yes. Well, Robert had hinted about that the progress may not always be visible. And I know we've got a lot of comments stating that where are the workers, what are they doing, and what's happening. And a lot of the work sometimes that we're dealing with it's not related to actually on the scene at the time. It could be the survey work, it could be utilities coordination, surveying. Anytime we have weather days, the contractor is still working on a lot of the things that they can, putting components together, because we're doing water, storm, sewer in the area. We're relocating, removing everything in the area. Of course, it was an old corridor. We're putting it back together, but that doesn't help that we are having quite the painful moment at this moment, getting traffic through. And we thought we'd expedite the summer, trying to let the contractor get a lot of work done, because right now we're doing open cut in the street, and there is no easy way to deal with that. So I'm gonna move to page 4, and that's communication lessons learned. Under page 4, we talked about our communication method. One of the main things I hear from the public is, I didn't know that. You didn't tell me early enough. Actually, that's what I hear when I come home. So basically, we're trying to work on that to make sure that those things happen in 48 hours, 72 hours lead time. We usually get with the police force, we talk to the schools, we talk to everybody that we can that's totally going to be impacted by this. We're trying to look at methods to make sure that the communication we put out there is available to everyone, that you can get to it. I know social media sometimes, if you don't have a Facebook page, you might not be able to see it, or something like this. And so we are looking at other methods to make sure that we get information out there in a timely manner. But there are events that do occur that we must take care of right now, and we don't have a moment. It's rare, but sometimes the contractor has dug up something, or we need to go now. We have collapsing soils. So we have created events that would that cause quite a bit of anguish for the public moving through there. So, and the anticipated lane closures and traffic pattern changes, those are the things we're going to work on, getting them, heads up in a timely manner about the predictability of what you can expect. Because school is starting again, and wow. So we're back to another episode of the timing. We moved the timing from the contractor can only start at 9 and supposedly end at 3 or 4, 3 on the school, 4 o'clock now. But we're trying to do everything we can to extend the work hours that the contractor can be out there and minimize the impact to the public. And we're creating a monthly project summary that will be a broad look at the ongoing issues. It will be a sequence of events showing this is where we are, this is what we anticipate, and try to get more information out there.
Where will we find that?
Or we're working on that through the Facebook, through the city. We were talking about it. The City of Jenks webpage, anyone can get on that.
Text alerts, emails.
Yes. And so from that would be the best. And then that would link maybe to a Facebook or any social media that, that would need it. But I think the City of Jenks webpage would be the best place to store it, because anybody can log on to it.
We can commit to doing that every month.
Yes, we must. Just as we bring you update to the city council meetings, that would be part of it, but more detail, questions where, just like Mayor, you received the document, and it was very explicit. It was stating, why are you doing this? What happened here? Why aren't we addressing that? And those are the things that we can hone in on that, zoom in on it, because I know if one person's asking it, many people are asking it.
So I can move to I can go through that, but I can go to the conclusions. Again, I do not want to stroke this, the public stating the city is committed. Yes, we are. We have never not been committed. And we do understand we may seem a little bit calloused in the way we're moving, but there is no turning back. It's moving forward. That's how we get things done. And it may be painful. And the infrastructure is we have to be able to adjust as we move through. We have to be. This is a growth. If this was a 4-lane and we were going to a 5-lane, the growth wouldn't be as bad. But we're going from a 2-3-lane to really a 5-lane median. So and we've dug up so many things. You know, the delays are a result of multiple contributing factors rather than one single factor. Generally, we can overcome a one factor, but a lot of times we get out there, we dig up this, we dig up that, and then we say, who owns this? And again, I don't try to convince anyone of anything. I can only tell you what it is. Some things are not visible, you can't see what's going on, but we are busy. And we are trying to take care of this issue and get it out of here. We have problems, and we have more problems. And it's just dealing with development. You know, growing is a little bit painful. And the city is committed to increasing transparency and information transfer by providing regular and understandable, because I try to make sure I speak in a language that's understandable, not that, some engineering jargon or anything like this. It's, that my mom would understand. That's what I reach for. And that's really where we are at this moment. We're just standing here stating we're trying our best. We do have an issue. I think I can see the end of this project. It's a painful deal, but I can vision it. I've seen many more like this before, not in Jenks. So,
All right. Thank
that's
you, Mr.
it for me.
Questions or comments from Mr. Brown?
Yeah, thank you for this report, and very helpful. We recognize that there are things that are in this process that are beyond control. We can't control AT&T or the utilities that have to move things. We can't control the weather. And the fact that as excavation has been done, and we're determining that there's other infrastructure water lines that have to be replaced during the excavation, we don't want to put all of this in and then have to go back and dig it up later. You want to complete it while we're in there.
Correct.
I think maybe just one question I would ask, it's kind of a lessons learned. We put restrictions on when the crews can be out there. You said 9 o'clock. I recognize we're trying to make accommodations for school. And then we've got the issues of the key traffic times, the commuter traffic, morning and afternoon. And forgive me for not knowing this, but are there provisions that we have at the state level that prohibit work being done after hours, normal hours?
No, sir.
And the reason, and I recognize when we're talking about project management, you're talking about the specifications, the time, and the cost. And I recognize that if we were to work after hours, it would likely increase the cost. But I know from an international standpoint, a lot of major street projects, road projects happen overnight.
Correct.
When the road's shut down, that's when the crews come out. And it's kind of like elves working at night, and things get done a lot faster because there's no traffic.
Right.
The downside of that is if you've got excavation crews that are out, then they're going to be right next to the neighborhoods, and they'll be hearing backhoes and dozers and trucks. But I don't know, when we're looking at our contracts, if there's ways that we can make sure that if we're running on shortfall on time, that we can expand the contract time so that they can ramp up the production activities and extend the time schedule.
The Texas mentality, I moved here from San Antonio. All the road work gets done at night.
Right.
We'd love to see that here. Yes, people will complain, but what would be ideal is if they could work during the day and at night.
I mean, part of the issue is the Elm Street is very close to, homes back up to Elm Street, so something we could look at is certainly the length of the workday potentially, but we would have to be pretty sensitive to whatever stop time that would be. I don't think this is a project that could be worked on throughout the night. It's not like a highway project. It's literally going right adjacent to existing neighborhoods, so.
So ripping the bandage off kind of scenario, though, if you can get something done in 3 months versus 10 months, maybe the public would like a 3-month option,
Right.
even if it means disrupting
Their sleep.
evening television viewing
Right.
and sleep.
Any other questions, Mr. Brown?
No, thank you.
Gentlemen, Mr. Murray?
Hearing from residents, and I drive this every day because I live south of 121st. And I know that the weather, the rain, snow, sleet, whatever, they're not like the postman and can go through all of that stuff. They do what they can. But the citizens in 2020 passed a bond to do all of this work. If we then go to the contractor and people ask, well, why aren't they working at night? Why aren't they working weekends? And if we start looking at that, what we've already allocated for this is obviously going to expand past what we have the money to spend on it. Granted, we want to get it done.
Right.
But we are tied, and our hands are tied because we've approved so much money to do it with. We've already allocated a little bit more here and there because of little hiccups that they run into. But I just want to make sure that the citizens understand we are doing what we can with the money that's been approved. And if we go over it, we're going to be out of luck. And so we've got to do what we can. And if we can get them to keep on schedule as best they can, that's great. But we have no control over the weather. Like I said, no control over the utility companies. I understood at one time that south of 121st, most of the utilities had already been taken care of. Maybe I've been misinformed on that. I don't know. I hope that's not the case, but it sounds like with a meeting next week, we'll find out for sure. Right. So I just want to reiterate that, we up here all drive on the street, and we know there are issues, and we run into those time zones. But, hey, if you've got a complaint on it, let us know, let you guys know, because there may be something we're not seeing, we're not hearing. But, we've got to get that information, because then the city can pass it on to the developer, the contractor, to make sure that they are seeing it and doing what they need to do. And so I appreciate that, but thank you.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, anyone else?
We talked a little bit about the weather. What are the days loaded into the contract for weather, rain, cold? Are there any days built in?
Right.
Are
There are like, 2 or 3 days per month, or what is your rain days?
There are rain days that are built into the contract. I was going to look at it today, but I got sidetracked. But I don't know exactly how many there are, but it sure wasn't 90 like we encountered. It probably was on the order of maybe a total of 30 over the contract.
Right, because you usually set up the rain days per month.
But that's because we expect that, and the contractor doesn't have to do negotiations to add more days into the contract as a result of more bad weather. But it's built into the contract in a small amount.
Does the contract have any provisions in it that protect us give us any kind of recourse when we exceed our time limit? That's a question I get all the time. And if the answer is no, then why not? And is that really not necessary? Everybody on Facebook is an expert in road construction, but tell me.
We always put a term liquidated damages into these contracts. And I don't know what it is in this one. A reasonable amount might have been like $500 a day. But the issue is that you've got to prove that you've really been harmed by them not completing the project on time. I mean, if you had a deadline that you had to meet in order to be in a particular location on a particular date, and they needed to meet that date and they didn't, then they could be charged those liquidated damages. On a project like this, I think I wish Teresa was here, but I think you'd find it would be extremely difficult to win that argument to charge them extra for liquidated damages.
So it's not errors and omissions, it's just, unless we can prove that we've been harmed, there's no recourse.
Like
Yeah.
if you were selling.
Have we ever proved
Right.
in your history of being here, have we ever had any recourse on the construction project?
We've never gone back and asked for anything.
Okay. Well, that is I think one of the top three questions I get all the time is why are we not penalizing and punishing the contractor for the delays?
Right. I just answered.
Fair
that this
question.
It was a very fair
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
And
Again, if you're going to punish, you have to have, it's a carrot and a stick. So you must pay for, if you're going to ask them to do something, if
Yeah.
you're going to say, I'm going to penalize you, you must also
Yeah.
provide them.
And
With
there
the
was
game.
there was a question that was brought up by Mr. Bowler also earlier was about, can we put an incentive into a contract to have them get done faster? Yes, we can, but it's going to cost you a lot of money to put that in there. One project we did have an incentive on was an ODOT project. When we did 111th from Elwood to the west, we had the bridge out there across Coal Creek, and that was on an incentive. The contractor got it done faster, but it cost more money. Now, how much it ends up costing, I don't know, because it was ODOT administered, so they
The
did.
bridge was an incentive, but the
Yeah,
overall project
the
still
bridge.
took longer than.
Yeah, the bridge was the incentive to get it open.
So in the end, there was probably a balance. The project took longer, the bridge got done faster. Okay. Well, the bottom line is the people that live in Jenks, they want communication. You can take all this and none of it matters if we're not communicating. So when we say we're going to provide an update every month, we got to tell the truth. We got to admit when we make mistakes. When we screw up, we got to tell them. And if they're out there right now cutting the road, I don't know why the hell they're doing that. We need to know what mistake was made. I'm not particularly care about whose fault it is. We can't do this the second time. And we need to make sure we have good lessons learned before we move on to the next stretch of road. And I think we owe it to the people that are angry to tell them the truth about it. So, and the whole AT&T thing, I mean, giant global company, if they're not responding to Jenks for last on their priority list, then we need to get creative about how to make them move.
And I think there's a key point when you mention mistakes.
That's the
That-
wrong word, but you know,
okay.
yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah, like when I drove up the street the other day to church, and I started reading about all okay, my logic says this is a mistake. This is not the logical order of operations. Until you prove me wrong, the
Correct.
public thinks something is wrong, and now they're going to do this, and as a result, I'm driving over a 1-inch thick piece of steel, and all the other bad things that happen. A mistake was made, we need to own up to it. And I think people, for the most part, as long as we're telling them what's happening, my experience when you talk to people, you tell them the truth, we can pour a lot of water on this fire.
Right.
And so the communication pledge that we're making here, we have to abide by. I would like for you to be able to attend that meeting next week, if you can, Adam. Make every effort you can. You've done a great job of communicating and finding a way to do it quickly. If you could be there, that'd be great. If he can't be there, then you can invite me, and I'll do what I can to be there.
Can I make one more point?
Yes.
We have a contractor, a well-established contractor, doing this project. As a backup, we hired a construction manager to help manage this project, but our staff, we still need to be a voice for the people driving on the road, even to the contractor and the construction manager, to let them know the priority is the people driving on that road while it's under construction, not just whatever is most convenient for the contractor at any given day or month when they're trying to work on the project. And we need to be an advocate for the citizens driving on that road because that's the most important thing to us. We need to make sure that we're doing that. If we haven't done that, we certainly will, I can guarantee you.
With that in mind, and appreciate it, and those 1-inch steel plates are there to keep you from going into a divot, but some of them that don't have it, that just have the chat, are wearing out. If we could have the contractor make sure and kind of fill those up or check on them, that would be much appreciative.
Right, like at 1/16th,
And
because that's my drive.
and my last word of advice to residents, I've got a couple emails. I was out of the country for 4 or 5 days, and I read an email that said, "This is an emergency." It was 5 days old. An email to a city councilor is probably not the best way to solve an emergency. You need to call us or text us or call your city councilor, call City Hall. I would call anybody you can. You can even go on and report a concern, as Adam and I frequently try to push you to do that, report a concern from the Jenks website, because that leaves a paper trail, which is better for all of us if there's a paper trail. But an email is not probably going to get you the most timely response. I think most of us here, our number is, I think our number's online, but please call. When I read an email that says that truck, that construction equipment blocked me and I was 4 hours late for work, or whatever it is, or it spilled something on my this or that, the timeliness is important. You need to call. Even if you need to call the Jenks non-emergency number and say, I couldn't get a hold of my city councilor. We're here to escalate your issues, but we are not here to necessarily solve them. And I don't know if you guys have figured it out, but we don't know much about road construction. And I would say, for the record tonight, you now know more or as much about Peoria Elm construction as anyone up here. You guys agree? You know everything we know, and we're just as frustrated as you are. Last call from Mr. Wilkins. Thank you for doing this. I'm sure you didn't have a choice. Robert threw you out here, didn't he?
No, and
Yeah.
I live here. I'm a citizen. I've been here 26 years now.
Yeah.
And so this does matter. I am proud of Jenks. I came here from a long distance to move here.
Yeah.
And I've watched Jenks grow. And I want to see Jenks really grow. And it's potential's here. This is seriously a very good place. And I will be working on it.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 3. It is an agreement between the Jenks Fire Department and the IAFC for a production and distribution of a thought leadership video. Chief Ostrom, if anyone's interested, we're on page 48. If you happen to have one of these, you can follow along. I think you can give us the abridged version.
We'll keep it real short for you.
Yeah, we'll try to keep everybody in their seats as long as we
Mayor,
can.
members, council, I just want to present this opportunity. The International Association of Fire Chiefs is the leading authority of fire chiefs in the area, of actually nationwide and in America. FRI is Fire Rescue International. That's held every year. It's our main convention that all the fire chiefs gather at. It's also a great leadership opportunity and training opportunity. We usually send 4 or 5 of our officers to their training program during that time as well. This year it's in Kansas City. It does go around in different places, but this year we're in Kansas City. It's in August. We were approached by the IAFC TV, which is the marketing side of the International Association of Fire Chiefs, and asked if we would be interested in being highlighted as a city that is making strides in our emergency services. Some of the things that they found in researching our city without us even talking about it was the new fire station, the SAFER grant we've received recently, our in-house academy that we started up a couple years ago, our culture that we've changed as a fire department over the last 10 years, things like our leather helmets that we've talked about up here, that is the nod to tradition with also the safety side of it as well. So all that to come together to say that they would like to highlight us in a 5-minute video. The production cost of that video is $27,000, which in talking to Katie and meeting with the production company, that's pretty standard to things like when we did our recruitment video, similar cost for that type of production. Some of the keys are we do own all of the footage we own, so the city would own that and be able to use that for other things. And the IAFC then would be responsible for all the cost of marketing that video and getting that video out there. It would be shown on the YouTube channel. It's shown on every hotel room during the conference. So the first thing you turn on if you've been to a conference where they've got the conference TV, that video would play continually. It would play throughout the conference as well. So it's a great way to highlight what the city of Jenks has done. You as a council, which you've approved as far as purchasing and updating our fire department. And really just a great opportunity to highlight what our fire officers have done in making those things. And I think it's a great nod to them to say, hey, we appreciate you, and be shown on a national and actually international stage to represent Jenks that way. So what we're asking for is a special appropriation. Of course, this came up quick. We didn't get to put it as part of our budget process, so that's how we're looking for the special appropriation for this funding. If you have any questions, I can answer. Trying to keep that as short as possible for you.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions?
Chief, how long will the segment be that they're going to produce? Do you know?
It's a 5-minute segment is what the total finished product is. We do get total rights of updating and refusal of anything that they produce. And I think they do take a shorter version on as well as kind of a snippet of what we're doing as well.
So you could use it for recruitment as well?
We can, yes.
Gentlemen, any questions? Mr. Murray?
You may have said it, I missed it. Do we get the video or a copy of the video to keep back here? And we have the rights to, if they want to rebroadcast it, they have to contact you first or anything like that?
Yeah, so they will do the marketing and the broadcasting for a year. And that'll stay on at least a year. They guarantee it'll be a year. But that will stay on their YouTube channel and things like that are available. In fact, the videos that they sent us as examples are still out there from even a few years ago. So, but they do say at least a year. We're able to take that from day one and produce it however we want to and share on our channels. We don't have to wait for a certain period of time before they lose rights to it. We have rights to it from day one.
Will they let you know if they, after the conference and stuff, if they show it, will they let you know, hey, we showed it in this particular city or this particular venue or social media or things like that? So you kind of have an idea back here, like, hey, we've gotten noticed on all these places.
I'm not sure if they'll do any reporting like that. I said it'll be housed primarily on their YouTube channel. So anybody that has access to YouTube would be able to see it. So I don't know how much of that reporting we'll get back from them. I'm sure it'll show a number of views and things like that. But their primary focus, again, is to present it at the conference. And each city that's selected is highlighted during one day of the conference.
Okay, good, thank you.
You could potentially also utilize this to, maybe from a standpoint of fundraising, if we're going to replace our SAFER grant.
Yeah, there are options like that. When we met with the IFC and had the first meeting with them, there's different ways you can basically script the video. Since the city had already approved a recruitment video just a couple years ago that's pretty fresh, we looked at this one as more of a way to highlight our captains and our officers and what they've done. So almost more of a, here's what we've done, here's what's good for the city, and really almost make, I think our goal was to make this video a focus on them and what they've been doing, and just a way to highlight so that you as city council can see kind of at that stage as well, and then really our citizens can see. So it's more focused toward that versus a recruitment video. That's the way we looked at this, is the best way, I think, to really stand up and say, hey, look what our guys have done, and this is being recognized on an international stage.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good questions. Item number 3, motion, please.
I make a motion that we approve the agreement with Jenks Fire Department, IAFC, for the production of this.
Okay.
Second?
Thank you. Proper motion is second. Item 3, let's vote, please.
Brown.
Yes?
Short.
Yes.
Abel.
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes, item 4 is Resolution 901. It's the supplemental appropriation to pay for item number 3. Motion, please.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Brown.
Yes?
Short.
Yes.
Abel.
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes, item 5 is the adoption of the Jenks Downtown Master Plan. If anyone's lucky enough to have gotten a copy of this document, we are going to start on page, I guess it would be page 54 of the overall packet. And for the first time this evening, we welcome our city planner, Mrs. Hilton.
Back up to that page. I have a very scratchy throat tonight, so I've had a whole bottle of water and tried several things. Still scratchy. Okay. Great. Thank you, Mayor, Council, and staff. And this is a really exciting moment for the City of Jenks. This is a project that started February 28th, 2024. So we've been talking about this for a minute. We've been reviewing it, looking at it, and we put the RFQ out on February 28th, 2024. And October 1st is when we awarded the contract for the downtown master plan to Beck Design. Beck Design had a couple of subcontractors, so there were three basic parts to the comprehensive plan. We said, we really want to understand where we're at from an economic perspective. So they hired Hunden, and Hunden did a market demand, financial feasibility, and economic impact analysis. In addition to that, we knew that our merchants on Main Street, our stakeholders, and that our residents were very concerned about parking. That was the second part of the process, and that was done by Walter P. Moore. They're an engineering firm. I think they have other things that they do, but they are an engineering firm. And then Beck Design partnered with SWA, and they were primarily responsible for creating the document that you have in front of you this evening. So with that being said, there's a kind of a framework, a layout. I tried to put the dates in. We'll go to the next page. We had the the presentation on the economic development was done to Planning Commission April 21st, 2025. And then May 6th, Hunden came to the City Council and we had that conversation. We did 8 open houses in 2025. So I personally were there. I was there for all of them. And we tried to make ourselves available. So we were on Main Street. We were at City Hall. We were available before work hours. We were available during lunch hours. We were available after work hours. And I showed up to 2 festivals, as did Beck Design. I don't know if you all remember, I had a prior engagement this year, but the 2025 Plant and Herb Festival was about like today. It rained a gully washer. And so I stood under the tiniest little umbrella with all the boards out asking for public feedback, and I definitely got wet. So that was about all the feedback we got from the original, the first Urban Plant Festival. May 2025 to July is when they submitted the final master plan. So the general concepts and designs we've had for about a year. We took there was a presentation and update given to council in November of 2025. And then in March of this year, during spring break, several staff members and the Public Works Authority were able to put together what we were calling block by block. And the idea for that, as you know, was imagine if we actually changed the parking on Main Street. So it did not look anything like anything in the future would. Those were totes taken straight out of Spring Creek Nursery, the big 55-gallon totes or 50-gallon totes, and they had live trees. And we had we experienced all but I think hell and sleeting rain during that 10 days. So we had hail. It might have been hell. I don't know. It's hot some days. But we had a lot of weather experiences during those 10 days. But we also had a lot of really great feedback. We did a survey and had over 700 people participate. What we found through all of our public engagement was no matter what you present, it is about 50-50. It has been mixed from day one, and it still is. So every time we've gone out to the public and said, what do you want? What do you expect? What should you see moving forward? And it's about 50-50. Some people don't want any change. Some people want all the change. And some people say it's fine the way it is. So that has been the response from the beginning. After the pop-up event, we did a stakeholder meeting, invited the merchants on Main Street to a meeting at Red Dog Construction, and asked for feedback there, specifically for the event, but also for the downtown master plan. I'd say the biggest takeaway I got from that was really make sure that we have a plan before we tear anything up, which is fair. And I think that that was wise, and I take that to heart. We made the final presentation. Beck Design came to Planning Commission May 7th, and Planning Commission did recommend adoption and approval of the downtown master plan. And tonight, it is on the agenda. I have Beck Design here. They have a short summary. They're not going to go through all 180 plus pages with you all. It's been in the agenda, so you should have had a copy of that. They have a shorter version that they'll go through. And if you have any questions, please ask, let me know. If you have any detailed questions about the document, I'll probably defer to very rigid, detailed questions and let the consultant answer those. Yes, sir.
And if we could just clarify, the item on the agenda tonight is to adopt the downtown master plan.
Yes, sir.
The downtown master plan has numerous options on all sorts of different issues, topics in the area that it covers. But there's no specific action being taken on any of those options tonight. It's saying here is the plan, here are all the options, and we will evaluate those and implement those in the future as
Absolutely,
the implement.
yes.
Yeah, because they're going to require capital expenditures, and there's no specific decision tonight on removing parking everywhere. Does that make?
Absolutely. Yeah. That is a very accurate summary of what you will be voting on this evening. So there's nothing tonight that would start tomorrow or anytime soon. This is just a recommendation with lots of options. We've looked at those options. We think that there's some good viable options out there, and they are in the plan. It's a plan. Okay, with that being said, if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to try and answer them. Otherwise, Anthony Miave and Don Beck are here with Beck Design, and they are welcome. I'm happy to turn it over to them.
Any questions? Thank you.
Yeah.
Gentlemen.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, City Manager. I think Marseille summed it up very well. We feel pretty positive about the plan. The goal all along was to maintain and preserve the character of downtown Jenks, the scale, the neighborhood, the real humanistic, but the scale of what's happening. And so when you do decide in the future to move forward with the plan and you're looking at those options, all those options would be tested out and what's the right fit. And a master plan always has built-in options for flexibility, because what we know today will be different 5 years from now. So there is a lot of flexibility built into that plan, and that's why those options are there. So that as things change, you can adjust to market conditions, feasibility regarding retail issues, and the demands and needs of the community and traffic and pedestrian traffic, things like that. So Anthony was our project manager, and any questions that you have for us, we're here to answer.
How do you guys want to do this? Are you going to go through the executive summary first?
You don't want to go through the entire 186 pages? And we could probably wrap up by Friday.
If we could, for a show of hands, if you own a business on Main Street, that's your audience. Just want you guys to know. We appreciate it. We've heard this a number of times, but I know you're looking at us, but we normally don't have anybody that shows up to these meetings, so that's what we're here for.
Well,
All right,
Anthony
so
will
yes.
give kind of a real 5 or 10 minute broad overview, and any detailed questions we'll do our best to answer.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for having us this evening. As Don said, we'll kind of go through briefly, but what we are doing is providing a framework, right? Providing that playbook so that the city can start to implement these at the right time. One of the first things we looked at is the potential parking strategy on Main Street. Now, right now, all that analysis resulted in one potential plan shown on the screen, which is having an enhanced building frontage. Right? What we mean by enhanced building frontage is being able to build out the sidewalk for businesses that can utilize that additional space. Now, that also does not mean that we're completely removing parking. Does not mean we're completely removing parking, but we are limiting parking by exception, meaning that there's short-term parking, loading and unloading zones, and accessible parking. The purple represents areas where we are proposing to convert the existing parking to parallel parking. And we have also created a prototypical street. It's what you're seeing here, which again, designed so that any of these planting bulb outs can be removed to accommodate parking as needed, so that you can have more or less a modular prototypical street, and depending on the number of parking you need on that street, those different sections can be removed to accommodate that parking. And I'll go through a handful of renderings that showcase what that would look like if implemented, looking at it at street level views. Again, being very cognizant of wayfinding, signage, again, maintaining the current feel, the look and feel. We don't want to detract from the buildings. We don't want to create obstacles for the existing businesses. We do want to enhance the frontage. We want to start to incorporate more lighting that is appropriate, that is in line with the current kind of historic look. And as you see in these renderings, these are representations of current Jenks. So we are taking the existing 85-foot right-of-way. We are, in these rendering, representing the existing businesses and buildings that are throughout Main Street. And then part of the conversation about Main Street and reducing the parking is how do we reallocate parking? So the intent is not to eliminate parking, because Jenks is very successful, and we believe, and we've found through the market analysis, that it will continue to grow. It will continue to develop. So even though at this point in time, there is more than sufficient parking for their needs, there are some other challenges, one of them being signage and knowing where you can and can't park. But we also know that Jenks is going to continue to grow. So the goal is not to eliminate parking or reduce parking, but reallocate parking to the proper, better redistribute parking so that it can continue to grow and flourish. Part of addressing that parking is looking at what we're calling the West Gateway lots. And this is west of the railroad tracks, Main Street on the top. And through another analysis, looking at what are the best and highest use for these couple of blocks without hindering the continued development that we are seeing on Main Street. So as of now, there is a lot of flexibility, But what we wanted to focus on is how do we provide convenient, accessible parking without it being a sea of parking? How do we create different building types that can morph over time? Particularly, we would like retail and restaurant facing Main Street. The second floor could easily become multifamily office spaces. It can become lofts. On that southern kind of the middle circle, we have office, and then again, another building with restaurant and potential office space above. So again, all this to showcase how there is a lot of flexibility built in within this block that can react to the current market demands whenever this does take place. And of course, providing again that parking. I need to figure out which way I need to point. Here we go. In this diagram, we want to showcase a little bit of, again, that parking. Whenever you look at it, you might not see a lot of parking. We are being very intentional about how we tuck that parking. But on the bottom right is a parking garage that would have approximately 80 parking spots per deck. We are identifying this area as multifamily, whether it's two-story walk-ups, brownstones. There could be a few different configurations, but 32 additional parking spaces, 18 on the street. You see along the side, 53 parking spaces in the middle, and 31 additional spaces adjacent to a green space buffer we are creating between this development and the railroad tracks. And again, another image to showcase that. In the previous one, you saw some diagonals. Now we're kind of making the front of the buildings a little more regular. If this development were to take place in phases, you could also build that out over 3 different phases. You would not really lose that ability to go from the inner parking to Main Street or vice versa. What this creates is the idea that you're able to traverse these spaces, access parking on both sides without having to walk completely around the block or walk through an existing business. And again, going through a few renderings of what those spaces could potentially look like, where there's a lot of those opportunities where before you may have only been able to use the front of a business. Now, with this strategy, you're able to utilize the front and the back, and with the cut-throughs, not only are you able to have quick access to both the front and the back, but you are creating additional storefront. We wanted to make sure that these spaces provided not only opportunities for business, but opportunities for other recreational activities, both program and non-programmed. We wanted to take advantage of that buffer we have to have between the railroad tracks and this development to create spaces where people would linger, a park-like setting, somewhere you can go walk, somewhere you can have a farmer's market, or other more seasonal kind of activities on a more regular basis. And again, this focusing on that promenade, so you can see an easy way to congregate and be able to traverse from the parking garage on the south up to Main Street. And you can see in the image on the right, there is additional parking. And on the left would be spaces that start to blur that indoor-outdoor use, so that businesses along this development could also extend outside, whether physically or just visually, creating those more open connections. And an idea of how these pass-throughs can function, where they're not necessarily just utilitarian or getting people through, but these are spaces that are active and can be activated. Someone, whether it's a coffee shop, something else, can have tables outside. You can utilize a space. It's undercover. And again, extending the activity from inside to outside. And then a look on potentially what Main Street could look like. Again, this would be extending your existing conditions on Main Street over to the west. being very careful that, as Don said, scale continues to match. We don't want something that overshadows. We want this to be a gateway, to be a transition into Main Street, and we want to establish that same pattern without detracting from what you currently have. We want to emphasize, we want to continue to be authentic to what Jenks has and what they are. And just a handful of aerial views, again, to give you an idea of how we're playing with the different spaces, buildings and parking. And that concludes the executive summary, trying to show you all the beautiful pictures.
All right, open up the floor to council. Mr. Brown, any questions? Questions or comments? Okay, gentlemen, anything? Questions or comments on what we've seen so far? Yeah, I don't think, my guess is that nobody in the room tonight has any real concerns about the West Gateway project. If you're not paying attention to this document, we're talking about the library lot, the fort. But for the sake of transparency, I'll open the floor. If you have a question about the library lot or this West Gateway project that currently does not exist, I'll give you 3 minutes. This project doesn't seem to be of any, no one seems to have any objections so far that I've heard anywhere online, but this is your moment. Okay. Seems most people care about downtown. Okay. All right, thank you. One thing I've noticed here is, I don't know how many of you have seen this or read it online, but this is a master document. It does not mean if we adopt it tonight that there's a parking plan in place. You showed us one example of 3 potential parking solutions. They only showed you guys the one I think you have the most fear of. And they've also showed in this document there were 5 major options for us to consider for building out that library lot project, and they were ranked in I think 10 different categories to walkability, safety, return on investment, you name it. Do they provide shade? What kind of sense of feeling do people have? And nobody doubts that anything we do there is going to be better than what we've done now. So I want you guys to understand, because he said it to start this meeting, yes or no tonight, this is not about picking parking. If you read this document, if you've talked to me and quit reading social media, there are 3 primary parking options for us to consider. And we're not voting on that tonight. And there's no way that sitting out a bunch of pots in spring break is all the analysis that we feel is necessary to decide whether or not we want to get rid of all the cars in downtown. That's absurd. So I want you guys to know that. You're hearing it from me. I've told most of you who have called me, you guys know where my support lies for the parking situation. These are options that we have. It's basically saying the goal of this, we want to win and grow downtown. And then these guys have given us 8 different choices potentially on how to get there, but we're not choosing one of those 8 tonight. Okay? So I want you to understand what it is we're voting yes or no on tonight. This is just, there's lots of flexibility in here, and there's plenty of time to have discussions, plenty of time to call your city councilor who covers the downtown area. You guys want his cell phone number? There's plenty of time to reach out to us, email, text, phone, whatever the case may be. If you really have some concerns, take Marseille to lunch. As long as you're paying, we're happy to hear you out. So please, I'm just trying to throw a little water on a fire that I see burning online. We are not changing the trajectory of your business in your parking spot tonight. I would agree. My guess is most of us want to do one thing. The priority is to make downtown safer. I had a discussion today at 4 o'clock in another meeting. You guys know it's really difficult to back out of a parking spot for 2 reasons. One, there's a giant truck next to you. And secondly, the cars never seem to stop. We can address those problems right now. We don't need this to do that. We don't need any of this to make life safer for you. We can put in crosswalks. Kevin, we all know we need crosswalks. We have an obligation for your safety. And secondly, there's a number of small steps that we can take. So don't think that there's just going to be option one and boom, we're just going to start construction. There's a lot of small steps that I would be in favor of proposing to these people that vote that we can take to kind of measure our progress as we go. So that's my perspective, but I'm only one of the 7 that are here, of 7 counselors that you have. So please don't fret that life is changing. Other than the safety aspect, which we all agree on, we know for a fact crosswalks are needed. We know we need to provide ADA, is it compliant or conformant? ADA, we need to do what we can for ADA. We need handicap parking. We don't have a single handicap parking spot in downtown, do we? On where are they? Between, right, okay, there's one there and, okay. So we need to make sure we have enough to take care of our consumers and our customers that need access to that. But I would, if you take a look at this document and you're thinking about your future between First and Second Street or First and whatever, there's a good chance that some of the parking is going to go away. But there's also a very, very good chance that we're going to provide a lot of parking spaces that are easily within walking distance. And there's another good parking option that could be in our very near future that we're not even going to discuss tonight because it's none of our business quite yet. But we have some good news coming in parking, and I think this plan does a really good job of giving you some future hope that there will be parking, not only for you as a consumer, but for your customers. So I'll drop the parking thing. I know that's why everybody's here, is parking. Questions or comments from council? Anything, am I spurring any conversation related to emails that you receive or phone calls that you get related to business owners or parking? Mr. Abel?
I think it's just worth noting that this plan is a response to feedback. Marseille had spent a year getting feedback, and from that feedback, a mass majority of it was, we hate angled parking. The second most popular option was no parking whatsoever. So having that feedback, we did the block by block to show you what that was. And nowhere in this time frame have we made a decision before we presented any options. It was all a response to feedback that we had received. Spurring that block by block is because we wanted more engagement and more feedback. So from everybody showing up, thank you. I think more feedback will help that constructive criticism make this the best for the most people that we have.
Short.
I think one thing that has been interesting in my lifetime, since I've lived here my whole life, the city has grown dramatically, and we're dealing with, in a very short period of time in our downtown, a series of generational changes. You know, growing up to about 4 or 5 years ago, no one ate downtown. There are very, very few options to eat downtown. And that was feedback that we received as counselors several years ago that we constructively addressed, provided incentives, got opportunities for entrepreneurs to change what was actually even available downtown. With that said, that is change. We are trying to change generational habits of how we do everything. From walking in our downtown, from parking in downtown, how fast we go downtown. You know, all these things are coming to a head, and it's just it's a lot of change. But it was in light of quite a bit of feedback. To Adam's point, that feedback was predicated on the fact that we had all this change happening in our downtown. That frankly, there are very, very few people that dislike what Jenks is doing right now, that dislike how Jenks looks today. The majority of our citizens, of our visitors, love and appreciate what Jenks is. And therefore, it's drawing people in. And the city was not designed in 1904 for, you know, the size of trucks, the size of vehicles, the amount of traffic. It just was a different town back then. And so we're dealing with, you know, new facts, and to the point that the consultants are making, we're going to have to analyze a lot of different things. And that's why they did their best, based on a year's worth of feedback, to provide us a master plan. And again, we're going to have to analyze, to Chris's point, we're going to have to analyze all these different aspects and all the different opportunities, and we're going to have to make a decision, and we're not going to please everybody. And some people are going to love it, some people are going to dislike it, some people are going to be fairly neutral on it, but we're doing the best based on the feedback that we've received, the feedback that Marseille's been provided. She's done everything possible to give her time for us to be able to, as citizens writ large, to give constructive feedback to her to help develop this plan that we're looking at tonight that the Planning Commission approved the other week or so ago. So, with that said, this is hard. This is generational change. We're changing a lot of people's habits in a very short, on a relative, 100-plus year timeline in a very short period of time. But there are very few people that don't love and appreciate how Jenks has evolved in that short period of time.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Mr. Brown?
Yeah, if I can just kind of weigh in as well. The mayor has mentioned is that we're looking at more of an incremental implementation as we begin unpacking the details in this. We don't want to, I know that you got the school of thought of go big or go home, but I think we're going to try to be very circumspect in the decisions that we make with the recommendations that have been made. And I know there's been a lot of different discussions, again, about the parking. I know I recently had the opportunity to go visit Cherry Street with some of the changes what they've made with their back-in angle parking. And it sounds really good in theory, but you got to be able to get traffic to stop to back in. So again, we've got to look at all of these different things, and we are going to be, again, looking at more of an incremental approach, I'm sure.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Abel?
Last bit. I already gave my 184-page packet away, and I'm volunteering everybody else's here. If business owners, residents want these packages that are in color, we can get other copies, and we'd be happy to supply them.
Yeah, and they're online as well.
And they're all online.
If you have a big monitor at home you want to look at. All right, we're going to halt discussion from the council. I'm going to open the floor to the public. Can you get that thing to work, Mr. Macy? I'm going to give you about 3 minutes. If you want it to value, the best value of your time is we want recommendations and suggestions. Partner with us. We're just 7 people. We don't have the best ideas. We represent you. We want to know what you think we should do as opposed to what we should not do. So we need your feedback. We need your suggestions. If there's anything we're missing, you want to put in a traffic light, these are all good ideas. Now's the time to do it. I'll give you about 3 minutes. And all we need is your first and last name, address, and if you are a business owner in Jenks, we'd love to know who you are and what your business is as well. Floor is open. And since you've been here a very, very, very long time, we'll probably give you an extra 30 seconds for every 10 years you've been on Main Street, Mr. Pierce.
Take me that long to remember all I want to say. My name is James Pierce. I own American Heritage Antiques as well as the building at 101 East Main Street. I've been down there for 26 years now and a half, something like that. I am really pleased to hear some of what I was hearing because there's just a lot of things that we don't hear. While we, have attended meetings, there's still a lot of decisions that we're not hearing about. And so when my biggest frustration is finding out today that we're having a meeting tonight and we're voting on something as important as the downtown master plan. And none of the other business owners that I know of downtown or property owners downtown knew this was happening. That's not transparency. Y'all have our numbers. You have our email addresses. You know where we are. I think that it's critical if you want to maintain positive relationships with the business owners and with the property owners that we're informed so that I'm not trying to read through a 184-page document at 4:30 in the evening before a 6 o'clock meeting. That's not fair. I need more help than that. These are, these business owners and these property owners have major investments down there. Some of these things I'm going to really like as, this develops through downtown. Some of them I'm not going to like, undoubtedly. I didn't like blocking off Main Street parking for a week. My sales were off 71% for that week compared to the same week the year before. For the month, I was off 40%. And, okay, so sometimes you have a bad week or a bad month. But I then went back a year and did the same analysis from the previous year for a 3-month period. And that week, that 10 days, I got killed. I'm sure all y'all got your paychecks that month. I didn't. I'm not the only one that got hurt down there. So please keep this in mind as we make these decisions. And I really, really appreciate that Marseille said tonight that what she came away from that last meeting that we had with was that we need to make sure that the cart stays in front of the horse stays in front of the cart. And that we're not removing 70 parking spaces before we have at least 70 more. But let's take that the next step. If we're going to be as successful as we hope this is all going to be, we need to have an extra 140 or an extra 200 parking spaces before we remove those 70. So thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Hello,
Hi, good
my
evening.
name is Adela Irwin. I live at 908 North Ivy Street. I'm a street over from Will's house. I have not been a Jenks lifer. I just bought a house here 5 years ago. My son is special needs. He has been in the Jenks SPED program his entire life. He's been a Jenks lifer since since he started school. And the thing that I frame my life from is, will this help my disabled child, right? And because, disabled children turn into disabled adults, right? They don't just disappear. And so I'm not saying that Jenks doesn't need a downtown renovation. I'm not saying any of that. We obviously need more ADA parking and things like that because there's currently only one. I said 2 earlier, but I consider Rustic Creamery kind of one. Anyways, I guess I just want you guys to keep that in mind. Just think about the children that this could affect. And I mean, and all disabled, humans and communities and things like that. I just want you guys to really consider that and really think about it as the process is going out and going forward. And think about think about the parents here in town and that we have to deal with this. So that's all. I would just implore you to think about the children and maybe give us one more parking space for ADA. Yeah.
What else can we do other than parking? What's the answer?
I don't know what the answer is. I'm going to be honest, And it was really refreshing to actually come to a meeting and hear you guys speak and hear you're not just voting for this overnight, because I'm not going to lie, I came to this meeting expecting that.
You read that chit chat thing, didn't you? Mm-hmm. That's no good.
But that doesn't mean that I won't, continue to still be here for more city council meetings. I'm definitely interested in coming. I'll be here June 2nd. So I don't know. It's hard because it's such a complicated and nuanced thing. I don't know. I just frame everything in my life from will this help my child? And so I just want you guys to think about that and think about that frame of mind as you're going forward.
We will. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Marseille has, when we've had walks, has included people that are related or have relationships with people that have some sort of additional potential need getting around the downtown. And I know that Marseille would be happy to talk with you about what ideas or anything. So we really appreciate you coming and talking to us.
I would love that.
Hey, what's on July 2nd?
I thought June 2nd, you guys have another meeting, a city council meeting, do you not?
July 7th.
July 7th, I'm sorry.
7th.
Sorry about that. Wrong month.
We won't be here July 2nd, but.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But July 7th.
I appreciate y'all correcting me.
Absolutely, thank you. How long have you lived here?
How long have I lived in?
Yeah, uh-huh.
I've only lived in Jenks for the last 5 years, but my son's been going here since kindergarten.
Okay.
And he's been in Special Olympics and all those things. His name's Liam.
Oh.
Everybody knows him.
Nice.
Thank you, Adele, it's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I think that it's really important. I mean, this was a very compelling conversation. And just so you all know, I mean, we did specifically talk about this at our 4 o'clock pre-meeting. I mean, it is on the front of our mind. I mean, my mother is more or less disabled and needs a walker and or a cane. So it is very much on our heart and very much in our forefront. So we appreciate you letting us know, but just so you do know, we spoke about this about 4 hours ago. And so it is on front of mind.
Yeah, especially those crosswalks, because my personal strategy for crossing the street in downtown Jenks is before I start to cross, get angry ahead of time, assume nobody's going to stop, get ready to get my hand out, get ready to give them the look and the stare down, because inevitably nobody seems to stop for us. So that's obviously all part of the master plan, and everything we do, safety is going to be the first thing. Cosmetics and all the pretty things that you see are certainly going to be a part of that as well. But yeah, we got to make sure people can get out of their car and kids can cross the street. He brought up something earlier with a show of hands. How many of you think Cherry Street parking is better than downtown Jenks? Let's be honest with me. If you think Cherry Street is better, you put your hand down because of peer pressure. You thought you were the only one. You're too old to give in to peer pressure, man. You think Cherry Street's better parking than here? Okay. What about Brookside? Parallel parking on Brookside?
I think our goals should be higher than that.
Yeah, I'm just asking. We have lofty goals. Thank you for your participation. Last call, anyone else? Last call, anyone else?
Matt Bowler, 312 East 124th Street, as long as my wife hasn't changed the locks since I'm not there tonight. I want to commend Marseille, Beck Design Council for this process. You guys have taken a lot of heat. I know it. I've been a downtown business or property owner and business owner since 2014. A lot of things have changed. I had 2 antique stores in my buildings when I bought them. And they threatened to call 2 Newsworks for You on me because I was changing things. And so change isn't easy. As I mentioned in my chamber address, there are a lot of great things about Jenks and a lot of things that we can do to improve and continue to make downtown a better place. I think wider sidewalks are going to help with ADA. I've been sending pictures of crosswalks and sidewalks from different cities to Marseille and Heather for years, to their great annoyance, I'm sure, when I'm in a cool city or a place. So I think we have a lot of upside to this, and we just have to make sure that we, again, communicate well. And I remember their presentation when I sat up here and they presented during the request for proposals, and have traveled with Anthony, and these people's hearts are in the right place. Nobody's here to try to shove anything down anybody's throat. They want to make this place great, and I think it is going to continue to improve. A couple of things, ideas. One is, as a recipient of a kitchen grant, I think that those property owners and those businesses that receive those have an added responsibility to provide more return to the city. So I think wider sidewalks in front of places that receive kitchen grants so that they can have outside seating and produce more sales tax to repay the city for those incentives is a great idea, if not a possible requirement. I think we have additional parking options coming. I think Councilor Short makes a great point in that we are experiencing a cultural change downtown, right? It's not park, walk in someplace. But if you build the right restaurant, the right company, the right business, people will find places to park. sometimes not legally. I've been trying to help with the parking problem. If Barry saw rogue parking signs put up, I put those up about 2 years ago out of my own pocket to try to help my customers and my tenants with parking. So I think this is going to be a great process. I commend the staff and the contractors, and I thank council and Crest for going through all this and putting up with all of us citizens. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Uh-oh, get that timer going, Brandon. All right, Catherine Lenhart, 777 West 106th Street South in Jenks. I just have some questions that are probably for the downtown master plan consultants. I was curious about Walter P. Moore being the global engineering firm to study the parking and possibly traffic flow. Did they rely on the transportation master plan of 2022 when they came up with their options? And I think personally I was disappointed to hear that they walked around and counted cars in their global engineering firm. I've asked several times via open records for any studies that went along with this, but have not been given any. So I'm curious about those things. So the options were they transportation master plan of 2022 derived? Do you know? Did you guys read the transportation master plan of 2022?
We'll let them answer the questions
Okay.
after. So your
Okay.
first question was
Well,
what,
they kind of
what year?
are stacked, but okay. So once we know that answer, the citizens were only given the options they were given. The citizens didn't really choose anything beyond what they were given. So to repeatedly say, that there's this feedback, it didn't really allow for other options like limiting the size of the cars or SUVs on Main Street. That might help with the gap in between for safety. I think Ed Phillips and Charlotte Montgomery brought up the idea to have drop-off zones. So, possibly designating takeaway or for the bikes or the people who like the one-stop shop idea, like I'm just going to run in and bring my dog. Are there ways to designate that kind of less than 10-minute parking or something like that? And then also, I wanted to know if there were any studies done regarding dwell time and increasing people who do come to downtown. Are there studies that might be reassuring to our business owners that show that if a person does park somewhere and walk, they're more likely to stop at 2 or 3 stores than that one-stop shop mentality? So maybe there's something positive long-term that will come from this, which is that dwell time. And maybe that's what they haven't experienced in the past, and maybe that's something they could look forward to. So I wanted to understand that. And then lastly, question for all of you. After this agenda item, excuse me, Mayor, I'm going to ask you a question here. I'd like to know what is the emergency you will be approving in the next item if you do that? So I'd like for you to state that
Do you
for us.
object to the emergency clause tonight?
We're not going to have.
Okay.
We're not going to have that.
We're not going to have. Well, we're not going to have the emergency.
Okay, just wanted to find out. I can
Okay.
ask that question.
Yeah, and I answered it.
I appreciate that, Mr. Shrout. Okay,
1, 2, 3.
there we go. Hey,
4.
8 seconds.
4. There was 4 questions, right?
I don't know, Corey.
Mrs. Lenhart?
Mayor Box.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get your questions answered. My word. Anybody want to start? First question, gentlemen, if you want. The first question was the engineering firm results. Were they based off a traffic study in 2022 or? How did they come up? Yeah. Okay, we can start there.
Sure.
And anybody who knows.
Yes, master plan, the 2022 transportation master plan was taken into account, both by us, Walter P. Moore, and everyone on the team. Walter P. Moore did in fact physically count on site, as well as using their technology. We used Walter P. Moore and we used Hunden to both do traffic counts and parking analysis. And again, we want to have that full range. So physically counting parking spots and using technology to be able to project parking demands throughout the entire year.
Talked about drop-off zones.
Yes, that is addressed.
I'm sorry, did you finish answering item
Correct,
number 1?
yes.
Okay.
As far as drop-off zones, that is a recommendation that's found in the full document. We have analyzed drop-off zones, limited time parking, parking enforcement, different options to enforce parking, whether it's through police or a different entity, what those would entail. And we also, just the drop-off zones, limited parking. Yes, but in all to say, those are part of the recommendation, and they are different strategies to help alleviate parking. Beyond that, we also looked at valet parking and shared parking methodologies.
We had a question about any studies on dwell time. I don't know.
We did not particularly study dwell time in specific, but we did analyze 12 different case studies identified by Hunden that have, those were ranked as similar to Jenks, national models, and aspirational models. And each one of those, we took the information and what they implemented, what they did, and what those results were, so that we as a team could study those 12 different case studies. The city was presented with them. We narrowed it down to, I believe, 4 to focus on more deeply. And then we found throughout those studies, we found other implementations in other places throughout the United States that had either similar issues to Jenks or address similar issues in different manners.
And we have software that we can look at dwell time. It takes a sample of cell phone data and extrapolates it. And so we've used that at the aquarium. I mean, one of the prime goals with increasing revenue and the financial sustainability of the aquarium is increasing dwell time, getting people to come in and giving them more and more reasons to stay, whether that's food, a playground, a pollinator garden, new exhibits, educational programming. And I think when it comes to Main Street, it's been a policy of the City Council and the Jenks Economic Development Authority to do what they can with the knowledge we have on what increases dwell time, such as restaurants, getting people to come, eat, spend time eating, and then walk around Main Street. And so we can go back and look, I believe, over the last few years at dwell time before some of these restaurants, dwell time after. And that's certainly something, whether or not it was specifically addressed with a study or anything like that in this master plan, that's certainly a great idea for something that we can focus on, seeing what that dwell time change has been, where it came from, and what we can do to further increase the dwell time downtown. So,
Mr. Abel, do you have a comment?
Yeah, just a minor comment. So I think the first initial wave of questions was no parking, parallel parking, or a hybrid of the two. And then as a response to feedback that we got, I think from You Dirty Dog and from Mr. Pierce, I think unloading and loading zones weren't a thought initially, but as a response to that feedback, it has been a recommendation now. And that's just kind of proof of the promise that feedback is making this better as it goes forward.
And I would say, I like the idea of drop-off zones.
And it's in there.
Yeah, and it's in there, buried in there somewhere. I would also say that you're right. There's 3 primary options for parking, and there's 5 options for the library lot. If you got a better one, I'm happy to hear it. But we got to find a way to kind of filter through. If I say, email me right now what you want to do with parking, I won't get through those emails in any short order. If there's just 7 people, we've hired consultants. If there's a better way, then I'm asking you to make it your obligation to communicate that in an effective way. If there's a hybrid here, something between option 2 and option 3, a small incremental step that makes this more palatable, that allows your business time to adjust and grow with the growing pains, we're happy to hear it. This is why we're having a discussion tonight. This is not legally something we have to discuss with the public. This is our decision to open the floor to you so we can hear. But what we want to hear more than anything is there a better idea? Because these ideas are not mine. They come from people that we've hired. But you guys have lived here. He's lived here his whole life. If there's a better idea, it's going to come from Kevin. It's going to come from James. It's going to come from the Burnhams. It's going to come from somebody. It may not be me, so we are happy to hear them. If there's a tweak to this, then please tell us. Where are we? Where are we? We've talked about parking. Is anyone else want to speak on behalf of the downtown parking options? Anything at all? General comments? Nobody fidgeting? Okay. We'll close the floor to the public. We'll come back to council. If anyone want to make any closing remarks, you may. The floor is yours. All right, seeing none, we are on item number 5, which is the adoption of the Jenks Downtown Master Plan.
Make a motion to approve the downtown master plan as presented.
Second?
Thank you. We have a proper motion and a second. Item number 5. Let's vote, please.
Brown.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
Abel.
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes. Ordinance 1688 is an ordinance adopting. Does anybody need a break? I didn't mean to. Huh? Yeah. Okay. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break, restrooms and whatnot. We will return shortly.
8:15 PM. City Council will re-adjourn. Excuse me, we'll start again. Item number 6 is ordinance 1688. It's an ordinance adopting an employee retirement system, defined benefit plan for the city of Jenks, the Jenks Public Works Authority, and the Jenks Aquarium Authority of Oklahoma, providing retirement benefits for eligible employees of the city of Jenks. We are on page 240, if you care to follow along, and we welcome Mr. Shrout.
Mayor and all members of council, this item relates to the retirement system for the City of Jenks, Jenks Public Works Authority, and Jenks Aquarium Authority. The idea with this is to be able to put funds into better use in a retirement fund that can return a higher yield than what we are legally obligated to put our funds in otherwise, which is collateralized assets such as CDs, treasury bills, money market accounts that are swept every day. The 10-year average treasury bill return has been 2.25%. We have an opportunity to partner with Oklahoma, with OKMRF, which has pooled resources with, I believe, more than 100 Oklahoma communities. And we would also like to change the vesting and contribution schedule for our employees. As of now, the city, the JPWA, and the JAA contribute 6.8% of each employee's salary into a 401A plan. That plan does not require a match from the employee, and the vesting period is less than 1 year. What that means is if an employee is here for a year, if they're here for 2 years, and they terminate their employment, go work somewhere else, that 6.8% that the city aquarium JPWA contributed is gone. It goes with them. And they were not required to contribute anything. And so what the proposal here is to have a defined benefit program where each entity puts a lump sum of money into with OKMRF. Their assumption is that they receive 7% returns on that money. They can invest in different vehicles because the money is specifically for employee retirement benefits. We've been using operating income to pay that 6.8%. The goal is to put an amount of money into OKMRF that can get a better return than that same amount of money sitting in treasury bills in one of our accounts. So OKMRF has an assumption of a 7% return annually. Over the last 10 years, they've returned almost 11%. And so we also are recommending that the vesting schedule be extended from under 1 year to 10 years. And so if an employee comes and works for the city of Jenks for 1, 2, 3 years, the city aquarium and JPWA's contribution to their account stays in the fund to further go to the benefit of employees that will be vested at 10 years. I'm trying to think what else I'm leaving out. This will also require an employee match. There currently is not an employee match. The employee will be required to contribute 5.25% to their retirement. That money is theirs. There is no vesting period for that 5.25%, but the City Aquarium JPWA's contribution, again, is not the employee's funds until after the 10-year vesting period. So we will not be declaring an emergency. We will not have item 7. Members of council, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shrout. Last call for questions or comments, Mr. Brown. Gentlemen?
I don't have any questions, just a couple comments. I think you've hit on the key points. I mean, the $2 million figure fully funds this plan. I think that's a very important component. That's generally what gets defined benefit plans and troubles when they're not fully funded. So we were fully funded. This is a relatively low percentage of our reserves in that particular fund. I think more importantly, the rate of return that this retirement plan will allow the beneficiaries is a probable rate of return that outpaces inflation. Right now, they are losing right now because their rate of return on this is because legally we're bound to have no risk assets in the city funds. It also means you get no return. And so when inflation's outpacing the 2.25 over an extended period of time, frankly, this is a very well thought through opportunity to help take dollars out of that inflation losing return and put it into marketable securities at a very low fee structure, and allow those dollars to grow and are more favorable to the beneficiaries. So I'm fully supportive.
Thank you, Mr. Short. I completely agree. Any other questions, comments on item number 6? Seeing none, we can entertain a motion on ordinance 1688.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 1688.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Proper motion and second. Let's vote, please.
Brown? Yes. Short?
Yes.
Abel?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, as Mr. Shrout stated, we lack a majority for the emergency clause, so we will move on. Moving on to number 8, ordinance 1689. An ordinance amending the employee retirement system defined contribution plan for the city of Jenks, Jenks Public Works Authority, and Jenks Aquarium Authority, providing retirement benefits for eligible employees of the city of Jenks, Oklahoma. Questions, comments, 1689.
And I would just point out that I did not state in item number 6 that with this change, all employees will have a one-time opportunity to either choose the new defined benefit plan or to choose this existing, something similar to the existing defined contribution plan. But every new employee would be automatically put into the defined benefit plan.
Thank you, sir. 1689, number 8.
Motion to approve ordinance 1689 as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Proper motion, second. Vote, please.
Brown? Yes. Short?
Yes.
Abel? Yes. Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, no need for number 9. Moving on to number 10. Resolution 902, a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $1,975,023 to account 102315250, also known as the City Operating Fund General Government Contractual Services, for the initial funding of this defined benefit plan.
And if I might, I just want to make sure that to reiterate, I guess, from the JAA meeting, that the funding to start this is coming out of revenue that they have in surplus for the aquarium already.
No, each entity has reserve funds that we have, whether it's by ordinance or resolution. And so this is funds that we are not planning to spend otherwise, that we want to put to better use than having sit in an account getting 2.25% in treasury bills. Okay. And so this is money that is being put to future use to fund an obligation that we're going to have to pay for regardless. And the goal is that this money provides a better return over time, that we can use that money and not use operating income to pay for the retirement benefits.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure it's understood out there.
And I could jump in here as well, from the standpoint that this investment moving into the fund is designed to help reduce operating costs for our expenses for a retirement plan.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item 10, 902.
Motion to accept resolution 902.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Brown? Yes. Short?
Yes.
Abel?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, sir. Item 11 is Resolution 903, supplemental appropriation to account 102315242, also known as the City Operating Fund, General Government Materials and Supplies, for $150,000. And from account 102315250, contractual services for $170,000 to fund a lease for City Hall offices at Gateway Plaza. We're on page 246. Can you give us an update on this and
Yes.
where we're at with the process, please, sir?
Mayor and all members of council, we have talked for years now about the seniors moving into PD, renovating that, building PD moving into City Hall, and the staff on the second floor moving into some other office location within the city of Jenks. We are office poor within the city of Jenks. We've looked for years now. We've had different options that we have even been voted on before this body. And the third floor, there's a third floor, 8,500 square foot office space at Gateway First Bank near Highway 75 and Main Street that is available. It's an open floor plan. There's 6 interior offices. There's 100 cubes existing. We've toured the site with staff. We've been in negotiations with potential lease options. What it looks like is a potential 4-year lease at $20 a square foot for 8,500 square feet, which roughly comes to $170,000 a year. The goal is for staff to be able to move out as soon as we can into that space, office there for a 4-year period while we plan a permanent new office location wherever that may be. But this really is the first step to getting a senior center and shuffling departments around, providing PD more space, providing the seniors more space. This will be temporary space while we plan some sort of permanent structure for office space. So the $150,000 is when I say conservative on the high end, it's conservative. We've been in talks with Gateway and their broker on the existing cubes. We don't need 100 cubes, but we're trying to find the most economical way to remove some of those cubes, reconfigure those cubes, and get staff up and going over there. And the initial quote from them was to reconfigure all these cubes and remove some of the cubes would be, I believe, $75,000. We think we might need to build 1 or 2 conference spaces with real walls, but everything else, these cubes are pretty modular. It's just a matter of paying the labor cost of reconfiguring all of that. So, and we don't have, this is not approving the lease, this is just appropriating the funds. Once we have the lease negotiated and ready to be approved, we will bring that back to the city council or whatever, I guess the city council. So.
Do you expect we could have that lease ready to vote on by the next meeting?
Potentially. I think we could, yeah.
Okay. Questions or comments from Mr. Shrout, Mr. Brown? Gentlemen? All right. Seeing none, Resolution 903, item number 11.
Motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Item 11, vote please.
Brown? Yes. Short?
Yes.
Abel?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, sir. Moving on to other business, item number 1, City Manager's Report, Mr. Shrout. We'll skip the update on South Elm.
Okay.
Anthony, you want to run that back for anybody that showed up late? You want to run it back? Isn't that what we used to do?
Okay. The June sales and use tax numbers, sales tax collection check was 16% less than the same month last year. For the full 12 months of the fiscal year, sales tax collections increased 9%. The use tax collection check was 19% more than the same month last year. Fiscal year to date, use tax collections have increased 2.5%. The total sales and use tax check for the month was 11% less than last year. Fiscal year to date, total sales and use tax collections increased 7.65%. The fire department is in the process of hiring 3 new firefighters. Offers have been made to 3 great candidates, and we expect them to start with the department in August. And I believe all 3 have experience as volunteers with the department, so that's exciting. The police fleet, the department has ordered and I believe received, Chief, 6 Chevrolet Tahoes. Did you receive the Silverado? 1. So we've been trying to modernize and replace the fleet so that we're not spending exorbitant amounts of money replacing water pumps on Explorers, and get in a regular rotation of hopefully rotating vehicles out every 5 years. To that point, for fiscal year 27, to continue to modernize the fleet, the department is planning to order 7 more Chevrolet Tahoes. There currently is substantial wait time on delivery for these vehicles, but we will keep you updated. I think you were thinking maybe potentially sometime in August or even sooner, but we'll update council on that. The 50-acre retail development at 121st and Highway 75, that is being developed by Sooner Investment. They continue to firm up the lineup of retailers for their project. They have also been working with city staff, the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, and the city of Glenpool to confirm access points to their project and traffic signalization along 121st Street, which west of Highway 75 is actually State Highway 117. We're looking at traffic signalization at Waco/James, Waco on the south, James on the north, and Jenks, and at Yukon. They anticipate potentially bringing Marseille's gone now. Potentially bring minor amendments to their PUD to the Planning Commission based on new potential retailer configurations that may affect the overall layout and plan. The developer, just speaking with them this week, the developer anticipates breaking ground on the project within the next year, which I think is very exciting. And the hotel on the Outlet Mall out parcel, staff has had meetings with the engineer on the dual flag hotel that is planned for the southeast out parcel on the mall property. Staff and the developer's engineer and architect are still working through the site plan, although we don't have a estimated construction start date. The low water dam, the city of Jenks, city of Tulsa, and the Muskogee Nation are planning to meet on July 9th to discuss the current dedicated funding sources for the low water dam, as well as the current 10% design estimate. The goal of the meeting is to see if there are internal funding opportunities within the 3 governmental entities to make up the difference of the shortfall, or potential outside funding sources from other governmental entities or donations from private companies that could make up the difference in the original estimate and the current estimate. The Oklahoma Aquarium Pollinator Garden opened last week. The aquarium held their ribbon cutting for the new 13,000 square foot pollinator garden on the south side of the main entrance. The garden was partially funded through a grant from the Stewart Family Foundation. The garden is another amenity for guests of the aquarium to enjoy, and is also open to the general public free of charge. The space has been recognized as a certified wildlife habitat by the National Wildlife Federation, which I think you said
There's only 2 in the United States.
2 in the Oklahoma?
So Jenks is now a certified wildlife community, and there's only 2 of those in the state.
Wow.
Because of the 400 acres of
No doubt.
natural green
Yeah.
space that we have, and now the pollinator garden plus Flycatcher Trail, which is in partnership with the Audubon Society and the Jenks Public Schools. But I think it's really cool.
Yeah. All-America City Award. The city of Jenks is one of 20 finalists to be named an All-American City by the National Civic League. The conference and final competition will take place in Denver from Friday, June 26th through Sunday, June 28th. The city will be represented at the conference by Mayor Box, Councilor Abel, city staff members, members of the Jenks Public School District, the Muskogee Creek Nation, the Riverwalk, Simon Property Group, the Tulsa City County Public Library, the Jenks Chamber of Commerce, and the Bridges Foundation. I think it's pretty exciting. I think the last time, Councilor Abel, you said the last time there was a finalist from Oklahoma was 1984, 85?
84.
So hopefully we can come away with a win. Upcoming events, we have the America 250 celebration. That'll be on July 3rd from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 at Veterans Park. It'll be a reading of the Declaration of Independence by some of our veterans and elected officials at the memorial, then celebration in the park with hot dogs, popsicles, popcorn from the Bridges Foundation, and splash pad water fun for the kids. Boom Fest will take place on July 4th. The fireworks start at 9:15, 9:30. 6:30 is when the Aquarium Boom Fest starts. It's the best fireworks show in the region, lasts approximately 30 minutes, and accompanying music will be streamed on 106.1 The Twister. We have Sharks in the Park, a Jenks Chamber of Commerce event on July 11th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We're going to have the first drone show I think the city's ever had, or first drone show in the city. So it's presented by River Spirit Casino and should be a great time. So we have a lot of great stuff going on and things to look forward to.
Thank you, Mr. Shroud. Any questions from Mr. Shroud, comments from council? All right, very well. For me, a couple things. Jenks Police Department, Captain Aaron McNulty, 20 years. You guys see him, congratulate him. He's tall, slightly balding, one of the kindest, smartest men you'd ever meet. So he might be the only one in the room that fits that description. 20 years of service. Please, Chief, on behalf of all of us, please thank him. I want to share a little story to highlight some of the wonderful, kind people in the city of Jenks. Somebody reached out to me the other day, had a real emergency. A bunch of kids came home from camp, sleeping bags, clothes infested with ticks and bed bugs, and their washing machine died. They don't have the money to replacement. So we put out a little request. Within 2 minutes, Brian Smith, State Farm Insurance, he's a Jenks resident. If you don't do business with Brian, consider it. You see him everywhere on social media. He was happy to pay for a washing machine to help out a Jenks needy family. There are countless stories of kindness and grace that we could share. So in the spirit of being able to recall some of these, if you guys have an idea on how we can do this on a more regular basis without me having to remember, feel free to do that. We are here to honor our residents. You guys have a great city, maybe even top 20. So if you want to honor somebody for doing something like that, let me know. Call city staff and we'll be sure to publicly give them the recognition they deserve. You guys know we had an election on June 16th. For those of you that are in that part of City of Jenks, Sheila Dills will be returning to be your state representative. That's a good thing. Sheila owns the Sheila Ann Patisserie, which is the little French restaurant / pie shop on the corner of Main Street and Elm. So we are blessed to have a state representative who owns a business on Main Street, who's a stakeholder, who's taken a risk here and who invests here. And Tedford Insurance right down the street, Mr. Mark Tedford, in all likelihood will probably be your United States Congressman come November. So good news for the city of Jenks, in my opinion. And I'd like to plug the America 250 event. Don't get confused, this is not a Veterans Day thing. This is not just for veterans. 250 years ago, we weren't free. We were ruled by a king. The very same king, not the very same one, but England sent their king here a few weeks ago. We could be that way again, and our kids have no idea what we're talking about if we haven't told them. So if you have children that are young that don't understand what it means to be free, bring them and we will talk to them about this freedom. None of us were alive 250 years ago, but the price that was paid was high, and our freedom is never guaranteed by the next generation if they're not willing to defend it. We as adults have to educate our kids and instill in them a spirit of great pride that this price that was paid is immense and we should always be thankful for it. So it's not a Veterans Day thing. It's about all of us. So please come. We're going to have a tent and hot dogs and drinks and all of those things, and some old warbird planes will be flying over. I think the fire department will be there spraying people with unusually high PSI water. The splash pad will be open, right, sir? Bring your kids. The audience of choice is kids. We know the cost of freedom. Bring your children, and it should be a really good event, 10:30 to 12:30. America 250, that's all I have. Last call, questions, comments from council, anyone? All right, very well. The time is 8:40 PM. The city council meeting is adjourned.